Hello, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a 2,000 point game of my Orcs against some Dark Elves. Alright, so this really builds off the campaign I've been doing for a while, and the guy here at Warp 3 that runs this campaign was also going to run this tournament, free to enter if you're part of the campaign, and there's also another major tournament coming up here in 2 weeks, and if you were to win this one, you get a free ticket. In the end, though, some people said they already had tickets, so really whoever's going to win this was just going to win some store credit and all this stuff. So it was supposed to be this big affair, 8 people, elimination style tournament, and the reason why it was only 8 people is because you had to be fully painted, and that knocked some people out. But in the end, because of weather and whatever, there's only 4 of us here. So we're just going to do kind of a round robin, and off we go. Now, the first game I got here is up against Dark Elves. In the campaign, this guy was the leader of destruction for a long time. He really knows his stuff, and we got a blood and glory. So I'm now switching over to Orcs and Goblins for this tournament. I am in it to win it. And with this, I have a Squig Horde, a Black Orc Horde, 2 Trolls, Savage Orc Biggin Horde. I have a level 4 Savage Orc Shaman with the Fencer's Blades and the Shrunken Head. I have the Night Goblin Bunker with the Night Goblin BSB, and I'm also running with a Savage Orc War Boss that has a Sword of Bloodshed, Potion of Strength, and the Enchanted Shield. So really aggressive, get in your face, beat you up. My opponent on his side, from left to right, he's going to have a Hydra, then he has a unit of Blackguard, then he has some Witches behind them, that's what his Cauldron is, then he has some Spearmen, and he has a level 4 in there. Inside that building, he has 10 crossbowmen, then he has some corsairs, he has some more crossbowmen, and then some harpies. And yeah, so his sorceress there has the sacrificial dagger and shadow magic, so really kind of pretty dangerous stuff, but I'm hoping here, with him having no hordes or anything, I'm just going to get into his face and beat him up. So I get first turn, and in this part here, I'm really just wanting to get up into him. I don't want to give him time to Pit of Shades me and just shoot me up, so I'm just running up here. You might notice on the left side I'm holding back. That's because of the way that I have my general and things in my Savage Orc Biggins, because I really just want to clean up on one side and sweep around. That means that my Squigs are not in range of my general, and the last thing I want is that Hydra charging out, beating them in combat, and they just explode and go away. So being a little bit more careful there. In the magic phase, I go for the big old Foot of Gork, stamp on his Spearman a bit and kill about half the unit, but that's really it. Other things just scatter off and then it ends. Now his turn, first of all, he made kind of a mistake. He put his harpies in the woods on the far side, I think just to figure out what they are, and then when he tried flying them out, he failed 2 dangerous terrain tests. They failed to panic, go off the board. So, a quick little easy lead for me. The other harpies are being a pain though, because they're up there to redirect my savages. One thing though, that with this, is that when he did it, he then started making his units go away. So his Corsairs, Swift Reform, start moving away, and even his crossbowmen there look like they're set up so that after my savages overrun, that they can kind of run behind me. So that's going to put up an interesting situation. Otherwise, I was surprised on the left side, he didn't try charging at all. And one thing he did find out is that the way that his placement was, plus because we had to move over his Corsairs a bit because he wasn't following the 1 inch, his Hydra is actually stuck behind him because of that impassable terrain that we're calling it on the left. His shooting really was all aimed at taking out the 1 troll, and then in his magic phase, he didn't really get much done. I think this is the turn where he tried going for one of his spells to get more dice, rolled a 1, stabbed somebody, rolled a 1 again. So pretty bad luck, and on my turn I'm just looking to go and charge in. Alright, so the charge that I had is I had the troll go into the harpies, and the way it was set up, it was actually a rear attack. When it failed, it fled and went away, and I just reformed, or held and reformed, so I could just go after something else. And really, the big thing I wanted to do here was get my Black Orcs into his Blackguard and his Wet Cells, right? I want to kill these guys before buffs start going on. But I rolled a 2 and a 1, and I failed the charge. So this is horrible. What I really planned to do after this was to do the Hand of Gork, and I was going to then move across my savages to be right in front of them. So really just 6 dice it, force it through, but unfortunately I got just 2 power dice, didn't get anything done, and that's it. And so really just a real flop of a turn here. If anything, the funniest thing is that my Night Goblin shot into the building and actually killed 2 crossbowmen. His turn 2 then, he goes for the super counter charge, and all these 3 units wanted to charge into my Black Orcs. Luckily for me, his Hydra failed it, but still, as long as his magic doesn't go off, I can now beat on these guys, but Dark Elves have pretty strong magic. And yeah, so this is what it looks like now. When all of a sudden your Black Orcs are only toughness 2, you see a lot of wounds. And I got my arse handed to me by these guys here. And luckily for me, / unluckily, I rolled Insane Courage and held. Now, I say luckily because that means that saves the unit and they didn't get run down and all this stuff. But now what that means, unfortunately for me, is that when I countercharge and hit him, he's still going to get all these easy kills from the Black Orcs, and it's still going to be swinging the combat way into his favor, as opposed to just, my Squig-Herd Horde hitting a flank and wiping them out. So, not looking good here, but at least I have a way I can fight back. So my turn, I had a failed animosity with my archers there. By the way, my other troll is gone because it was shot last turn. My Savage Biggins flanked the Witch Elves, and as you can see there, I did a whole bunch of damage, but it doesn't matter when he was able to wipe out the rest of my Black Orcs. I actually lost combat by a bit, but I was steadfast and able to hold. And the other thing I did is just to keep the Hydra out of my face, is I went and I Hand of Gorked it over there. The other thing I got done big time with my magic phase this turn is that with Foot of Gork, I just smashed those spearmen to nothing. So they are gone, the Harpies are gone, but he has banners and all these different units here. So unless I start wiping these out, I'm not going to be winning through the mission. His turn 3 then, and this really surprised me. He brought in his Blackguard, and then he also brought his crossbowmen into my rear. Now, of course, I've lost Frenzy because I've lost the combat, but these are all fairly small units that all have banners. So it seems that instead of having to hunt these guys down, now he brought them to me. My war boss is going to be able to fight the the Blackguard and really kill them really quickly, and I don't have to worry about a challenge because the unit champ of the Witch Elf is already stuck in one with my level 4 Savage Shaman. When he's weapon skill 10, it's pretty hard to kill him. So this could actually really turn the game around for me. Or at least that's what I thought until he had about 11 dice magic phase, and then all of a sudden my weapon skill is reduced by 3, my toughness is reduced by 2, and that's never good. And yeah, and so it really doesn't even go far. He just directs attacks at my war boss, kills my war boss, and that's it. I'm under fortitude and I just lost the game. So, victory to the Dark Elves, and this was really disconcerting for a couple of reasons. One, because, had this been the elimination tournament it was originally going to be, I would just be out. I'd be done now. So that's always kind of a blow. The other thing, too, is I walked into this and it looked like it'd be, other than I knew I was going against a good opponent, it seemed like I'd be able to just tear them apart. And one of the things I love is all the people that hate hordes. I love kind of proving that hordes are the way to go just by smashing these small units. And I know I'm going to be getting comments saying, see, it all worked and it's all about the counter charges and blah, blah, blah. But really what this one came down to was just a failed charge of the Black Orcs and then just the domination of his magic phase to really control the combats through reducing my toughness. It didn't really matter. He had smaller units. He never really got flanks on me or anything. It was just the fact that he threw in these units and that I was then -2 toughness. We had a chat about this after and how, if you just take the same thing and then instead of throwing in 2 units, you're throwing in a big, say, horde of Witch Elves, it's just way better for him. His buffs from his altar affect the entire unit instead of just 1 out of the 2. It's just one of these things that's unfortunate because, of course, it's a loss, and then I'm going to get these nagging on me. But there you go. Hopefully I can turn things around with the other 2 games, but here's this one in the books.